What's up, everybody, for No More Future, and hopefully you are having a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. Let's get to the game. I am back, everybody. Alright. You're not sure how I'm pretty sure I read this, correct? Let's get out of here. Or let's go to the next part. Did you have some bad experiences with the police as well? Sorry, my chair is creaking. I don't know if you heard it or not. It depends on the mic, or it depends on how far or how near I am. The girl seems a little confused by her question, almost as if it were a non-sequitur. Hopefully I pronounced that word correctly. However, it doesn't take her long to shake that thought out of her head and reply to her query as usual. Yeah, something like that. Cops in this country are useless at best, and they're rarely at their best. God knows where the F they all decided to go when you actually needed them. She definitely doesn't seem to be a stranger to close encounters with law officials. In fact, it sounds as though she's even more familiar with them than you are. You'd ask for clarifications, but given how evasive her answers were to similar questions the other night, you have a feeling it wouldn't go over well. Honestly, I still don't know what they were trying to do cornering me like that. I still can't make any sense of it. Sorry for the background noise again. Chair squeaking. Yes, I'm pointing it out. What could have driven them to be so aggressive towards me? Was it fear? Hatred? Paranoia? Beats me. You said earlier they can't be arrested or prosecuted by conventional means, right? You silently nod at the human's assertion. Maybe they were clueless about it? It's possible that they simply didn't get the memo. Unlikely, policemen are hardly the type of people to skip out on homework, especially when it comes to knowing who they can and cannot arrest. Most likely they were given a directive or an order, or a memo pretty much. Alright, we can't arrest this guy because he's technically not this and that. But they were like, they will do something else. We'll annoy the F out of him. Even if that knowledge had just been released to the public, they definitely would have been the first ones to know. And besides, there's something wrong about the way you said they acted. What do you mean? The girl seems hesitant to answer. That's my friend Daphne right there. They got my boy Isaac's back, man. I don't know, I just feel like their behavior, or at least the way you recounted it to me, was pretty strange, even by their standards. They knew that they couldn't arrest you, and yet they still pretended as though they could. That they did. If they were truly aware that they had no power over you beforehand, then their actions make even less sense than you originally thought. Pretty sus to me, Isaac. The only explanation you can come up with was that they misunderstood the law, or maybe they were overconfident in their authority somehow. Well, I guess even policemen aren't immune from making mistakes. They aren't immune from making intentional mistakes either. What do you mean? First, they tried to arrest you. Then, when that didn't work, they tried to deactivate you the only way they knew how. It's like they were desperate to do something, like bad rap. The girl makes us as if to say something, but stops herself at the last moment with a defeated sigh. Nah, we still don't know enough to say for certain. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to start ranting like a conspiracy theorist back there. Don't worry about that. I don't mind you getting interested in my problems. In fact, I'm happy that you care. And I do agree that there was something fishy going on with those two. Even that FBI agent that visited me the other day said as much. Maybe I'll find out what it really was once they're done auditing them or whatever. Oh my god, Isaac. The police? Investigating themselves? God damn, and they found nothing wrong? Interesting. FBI agent. Oh right. You never told Daphne about what happened before that EMP hit the building either. Maybe that's a story for another day. Wow, good save, Isaac. Good save. Alright, if you say so. Besides, we're almost at the train station anyway. We should focus on getting aboard the closest ride to the new relay before we get lost in our conversation again. Couldn't have said it better myself. Come on, let's go. And so, the two of you resume your walk towards the station. The human's strange theory is still whirling in your head. Conspiracy or not, the more you think about what happened at the new relay station the other day, the stranger that string of events becomes. As you approach your destination, you'll wonder whether you'll ever get a straight answer to your questions one day. You give a brief look to your surroundings as you cross the entrance to the Bloomberg train station once again. Not much has changed since the last time you visited, aside from the time shown in the large clock in the middle of the building. Which, once again, is completely and utterly wrong. They should really fix that. To be fair, it's only been a few days since you last visited this place, so the only real difference lies in the way the light brightens it up at different times of the day. The station's still bustling with commuters of all kinds, likely heading out on a leisure trip to other, more interesting cities. Many of them notice your arrival, but only few spend more than a few seconds staring at you two before returning to whatever they were doing before. The rest are likely going to be staring for a while. Well, I mean, a human and a synthetic. Crazy combo, as I say so myself. You and Daphne try your best to ignore said onlookers as you approach the old digital board that shows the train's timetables. God damn it, just my luck. Your friend appears quite annoyed as she shakes her head at the board before you. What's going on? Just look at our train details, they're the third from the top. You give the board a quick glance per the human's request and soon spot the details of your arranged trip right where she said you would. As well as a few extra words in red you weren't quite expecting to see. Detoured? Are you kidding me? Yup, probably some issue with the mag field along the rails or something. Happens every once in a while. That or something more serious. You shiver as you briefly consider a wide variety of equally unsettling scenarios. Though your friend doesn't appear phased in the slide. I mean, she's used to it, man. She looks like a tough cookie. Not in a bad way or any, in that any sense. Either way, nothing we can do about it. We'll waste another 15 minutes thanks to that detour, but that shouldn't be an issue for either of us. Now, let's head to the platform. Our train's gonna be here in 2 minutes or less. Right. Lead the way. As the two of you start walking away, you notice an ever bigger crowd of people staring at you two from afar, shooting videos and taking photos while murmuring among each other. Compared to the last few times you've been surrounded by groups of people like that, their stares feel even heavier than usual. Though it's possible that you're merely imagining it. Hopefully. I kind of get that. We all want our privacy or space. When some random group of people stare at you, you're like, your first thought would be like, oh, they might be staring behind me, maybe their friend or they're looking at whatever. But then, what if they are looking at you? Then it feels weird. You feel uncomfortable, 100%. You try not to let that bother you as you hear the sound of your ride coming into the station at last. The two of you enter the first carriage you find, not really giving much thought to its placement of current capacity. Though you had hoped people would have learned not to fear you by now, it doesn't take long for the rest of the commuters to spot you among them and begin to panic. Most of them flee to other cabins. Not that I wouldn't really, but then again, I kind of get it at the context of, it was like a Skynet situation happened before where robots were taking over. People are a bit sensitive to, modern robots, AI, synthetics, whatnot. I get it. Most of them flee to other cabins. The rest, the train altogether. By the time the doors close behind you, there's no one left aside from you and your friend. I'm sorry, I'm not leaving the damn train. Let's say I bought the ticket. Nah, I am not going back outside waiting another gosh darn, I don't know, for how long the train comes back or goes around. Or buy another ticket. Nah. By the time the doors close behind you, there's no one left aside from you and your friend. Wow, that's some reception. Gotta hand it to you, Isaac. Not even I was ever welcomed somewhere this poorly. Though you feel a mixture of embarrassment and regret at your friend's words, a wave of shame washing over you as you realize how deeply you dragged your friend down with you. Your friend merely shrugs everything off with a smile. Ah, well, I guess this means we don't have to work from our seats. Oh, yeah, that's true. Without saying another word, the human sits down in the nearest chair and splays her arms out in the headrest behind her as the train begins to ramp up in speed. She seems to be taking this mortifying turn of events well, all things considered. You, on the other hand, find this to be anything but an ideal arrangement. You approach your friend cautiously, holding your head low as though you personally offended her. Once you're done sitting down next to her, you let your voice be heard once again. I'm sorry. What for? You know, for... You gestured to all the empty seats around you. Everything. You briefly quiet down, expecting Daphne to say something about this whole mess. But she simply keeps watching you, waiting to hear what you say next. Oh, what a friend, man. Over the past few days, I hung out with a lot of people. You and your brother, my friends at Pandora, my cousin, Nem. I guess I got a bit overconfident during all that. I thought it was fine to hang out around others, as long as they didn't see me as a threat or some kind of freak. But I never thought about what would happen if I ended up hanging out with those same people around others who didn't share the same feelings. You scratch your head as you ponder how best to formulate your apology, while your friend keeps staring at you as though you're speaking in a dead tongue. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I'm sorry for dragging you into this mess. For forcing you to share all this nonsense with me, all because we're friends. Wow, you're apologizing for that? Now it's your turn to be stunned while Daphne mouths a reply. If you apologize every time someone else is acting like an idiot, you're gonna be saying sorry until the end of time. Damn, what a beast! Now that's a Chad. Besides, if you think you're guilty for causing all this nonsense, you should hold me accountable for that too. I don't think I get what you're talking about. Aw, Isaac doesn't see her as a freak. Look at her with her non-furry features. What are you guilty of exactly? Of attracting people's negative attention, of course. What else do you think? Upon noticing your still confused expression on your visor, the human sighs as she tries to explain herself. Alright, maybe I never got this kind of reaction before when I boarded the train, but trust me, you're not the only person who gets stared at and gossiped about everywhere they go. I mean, did you really think all those people we met along the way were staring at us just because of you? You did notice a lot more nuisances around than usually today. That's true. But was that really her fault? That you can't bring yourself to believe. The human, on the other hand, shrugs it all off as though it were nothing more than a regular occurrence. I guess that's why I'm not all that bothered about everything that happened today. It really wasn't that big of a deal. But why? Why would anyone treat you like that? Daphne raises an eyebrow at your query, seemingly questioning your intelligence all of a sudden. Are you really asking me that, Isaac? Are you... You, of all people, should know the answer. It's the same reason everyone got shit on since the dawn of mankind. It's because I'm different. Because my species name starts with an H instead of a U. It doesn't matter how I see myself. All that matters is what they see me as. And all they see when they look at me is a weirdo, a freak, just like you. You suppose you can see why she'd think that. Her appearance is definitely striking, if nothing else, and her status as a rare species might have burdened her more than she initially let on. It seems like your predicament and your friends are quite similar in the end, though not entirely. I don't think it's quite the same thing. People aren't afraid of me because I look weird, only because they think I could turn out like Kronos. Sorry, Kronos. Kronos. Kronos! Time. Kronos, I got it. Kronos. 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 Please, like you could ever pull off something like that. You're a wuss. The girl dismisses your consideration so nonchalantly. Or nonchalantly. You're so nonchalant about it, yeah. You're almost offended. What makes you so sure I couldn't do something like that? Because if you could really do something to scare these idiots out of their mind, I'd bet every cent I own that you could. I'd bet every cent that I own. I'd bet every cent I own that you would have done it already. On one hand, you'd like to think you're not quite as vengeful as your friend purports to be. On the other, she makes a damn good point. Look, what I mean to say is, I'm sorry too, alright? I didn't mean to turn this into a rant. I wanted to make a point that you aren't to blame for what's happening to you now. But I guess I ended up painting myself as the victim anyway. It's alright. I get it now, even if it took me a while. Damn, Isaac is slow, my man. But then again, I can't really say that I'm the smart guy myself. We've been seeing through the... Well, I'm the player lens, you know? Like, we can see everything, so we get it. We can hear their thoughts, we can hear everything. Or we can see everything. So we know more about Isaac than he knows about himself. Truth be told, you had some suspicions that Daphne was the subject of people's interest even before you saw her at the cafe yesterday. But you paid it no mind, thinking the attention she received was positive. Damn. Evidently, gauging from her words and the expression on her face, it is not. You really did take a while, huh? I thought you put two and two together way sooner. You can't help but look away in shame as her friend rightfully calls you out. Yeah, I can see what you mean. I'm not an idiot, but I wouldn't call myself smart either. Takes a while for me to figure things out. Hell, I spent an eternity trying to realize what bothered you about those guys yesterday, back at the cafe, and I'd be lying if I said that was the only time I was slow on the uptake. Huh. And here I thought that you were just too nice to figure that out or something. You can say naive, it's fine, or maybe optimistic, if you want to be even more generous. Obviously, that optimism got a little harder to keep up after I got diagnosed with cancer and everything. Even so, you still try to stay positive as much as you can, even with half the world against you, even now that so few friends and family are still by your side. You have to stay positive as much as it pains you to do so. Assume that everything is better than it seems, that things will get better eventually. The alternative is an emptiness and a dread that you know all too well. I see. And you're fine living like that? As though she could read your thoughts, Daphne's query drags you back from the clouds, kicking and screaming. I'm sorry? The girl crosses her arms as she turns to stare at the floor. Look, I've tried being naive before, enjoying life as it came and went like you do, like Apollo does. I can't do it, not anymore. All I ever got from that was pain and disappointment. Damn, that hurts. This is why I like the game, even though the game isn't really, it is a visual novel. Less of a game, more of like an actual visual novel, you know. Which I kind of don't low-key hate. Or maybe I got burned out by Sucker Succubus if everybody watched my playthrough about on that game. Where you have some options, you know, it's trying to be a game, but there's not really an impact because in the source novel, I guess, it's already predetermined on who we get with. So, yeah. Hey, cool. Alright. Now I'd rather... this one, I don't know, there's a lot of relatable stuff here. Now I'd rather just assume the worst all the time. That way I always get the jump on my problems and not the other way around. Oh, like my grandma, where she like thinks real bad stuff on the situations. Some of them hit the mark, some of them don't. I guess it's pretty nice when you think about the worst. It's effed up, yes. You think about the most extremes of the worst situations in the most negative way, right? If one of them hits their mark, at least you're prepared. If all of them didn't really come to happen or they just pass, well, nice, right? Good outcome. You understand where your friend is coming from. It sounds like a reasonable, if perhaps a little extreme way to live your life. But you're not sure if you could handle the pain that would likely come alongside it. Dear Lord, where the hell did this conversation end up? Noticing how dark your thoughts have become all of a sudden, you try to lift both your and your friend's spirits with a joke. Sounds pretty edgy, not gonna lie. Hey, that's a smile. Though it takes her a while to react, in the end your friend cannot help but smile at your remark. Blame video games for it. I stole half of my one-liners from fighting game banter. Oh yeah? That stuff can get pretty cheesy. I would know. I still remember all of your characters' victory quotes from when you pummeled me at Reaper's site the other day. Heh. Still looking forward to getting your ass handed to you again on that one. Oh, you mackin', Isaac? You mackin'? Isaac, the synthetic Riz. Rizak. As if you won't be so lucky next time. I don't think I'm the one who needs luck between the two of us. Now it's your turn to smile at Daphne's cocky remarks, in spite of how absolutely wrong she is in her overconfidence. Well, it's nice to hang out with you like this. Daphne's eyes suddenly widen as she processes her friendly remark. It is? Yeah, it is. Our first meeting might not have been all that great, but overall, I'm happy to have met you. Though I've lost many people dear to my heart, it's good to know that I can still rely on my friends like you to keep my spirits up. I know it sounds corny, but trust me, I'm being serious here. You expected Daphne to tease you for your careless comments, but instead she just turns to face the other way. A regretful and melancholic gaze on her face. Not the way you thought she was going to react, truth be told. I'm sorry about yesterday. About yesterday? It takes a while for you to realize what the human's talking about, but eventually you manage to recall everything that happened during your brief stay at the cafe. Daphne wasn't in the best of moods when she first approached you and Nem at your table, which at that time felt somewhat unnerving. Could this be what she's referring to? As though she could read your mind, the girl resumes talking as soon as you realize it. Yeah, I was snappy and a bit of an asshole. You don't need to pretend like you didn't notice it. I can tell that you did. She's right about that, though she didn't have to state it so bluntly. You only just remembered after all. Still, given that she's voluntarily opened the door for you, you figured you might as well inquire more as to reasons for behaving the way she did. So then, why did you react so poorly to me being there? Did I say something that upset you without realizing it? The human angrily shakes her head at her queries, seemingly upset with herself for whatever reason. Because I thought you'd come for the same reason everyone else did. We just met the previous day after all, and I still didn't know everything about you. Hell, I still don't even know now. And like I said, when I don't know all the facts, I tend to assume the worst. So that's it. You suppose that explains it, all things considered, even though it's not a particularly nice thing to hear. So you thought I'd come to the cafe just to laugh at you? That's what most people come there for. You wouldn't have been the first to stalk me all the way to my workplace or house just for the sake of cringing at me. That sounds like a... Wow, all those people gotta have nothing to do with their lives other than just... No, yeah, that's... Damn. It's like, man, I heard that there's this freak at that restaurant. Whoa, wow, let's go there every week. I thought I made it clear when we first met that I wasn't that kind of person. Though she seems somewhat regretful over her mistaken assumption, Daphne reacts to her comment as bluntly as ever. Well, you wouldn't be the first person to say something to me, then do another when I least expect it. A brief silence follows as neither of you know how to break it. Knowing that Daphne still had doubts about you even as far as yesterday is more than a little disappointing, truth be told. She said she had to believe that in order to feel safer. But is it truly righteous to hold prejudices on one another so as to be ready for anything? In hindsight, you can't really say you can blame her either. You're also wrong about your friend in quite a few regards, and your friendship almost suffered as a result. Maybe we should just stop assuming things about each other. Daphne turns to look at you once again, her expression full of surprise. She clearly didn't expect you to say something like that after everything you shared with one another, for that matter. Neither did you. She makes as if to say something, but stops herself part way through, preferring instead to simply smile and chortle away. You know what? You're right. You've been pretty cool so far, and I might as well keep believing you'll stay like that for a while at least. Besides, I always wanted a friend for your size to carry my groceries for me when I go out shopping. Whoa, Daphne, rizzing on us? No, I'm just kidding, man. It's just a friendly thing. Though her sudden joke takes you by surprise, it doesn't take you long to reply in kind. I'm not doing that for you, Daphne. I'm not doing that for you, Daphne. Sure you will. Once I'm done thrashing you next time we play. I'll have you know, I never lost a bet with Apollo before, and I plan to keep my record going with you too. A video game bet. Sounds rather fun, honestly. You never had the opportunity to do one of those with Nem before, and you'd be lying if you said the thought wasn't at least somewhat exciting. Well, what do I get if I win? And that's where I end this video. I just had a long drive, you know, and I'm a little bit tired. I'll be recording another video after this. So, yeah. See you everybody, good luck and whatever you're doing. Watch this video or watch my other videos. Watch my other videos, yeah. Subscribe, like, comment, you know the drill. Thanks for watching. Bye!